So traveling from Benin to Calabar was not easy actually, but it was quite interesting. It started with packing my load, getting on the road with some friends of mine. My roommate was super interesting. He took me out with some friends of mine. Um, it was in the evening though, so we're heading over to Benin where I'll get a hotel to stay for the night and take the early bus the next day to Calabar. So here we are in Benin right now, and well, Omo, it's good to have real G's, you know what I'm saying? Mr. Trust, my namesake on the other side. Okay, so now we are here in Benin, and you can see the road in Benin. It looks as though there was rain the night before. Oh, I remember, I think there was rain early that evening. So one thing about Benin Road, especially this Benin Outry Road, is that there is so much trucks. Look, I don't know about you, but I've never seen a state with this much truck like Edo State. So early in the morning the next day, I woke up super early, got up to the park before 6 a.m. I was hoping to catch the first bus here at Faith Motors Park, which was just the next door neighbor to the hotel which I stayed with. I mean, they literally share a fence. I was just here in the park. I booked my ticket and I just sat down in the bus, looking at the road and seeing sights like this Hausa man who are selling onions. And one thing was for sure, the long wait in the park was so interesting. Literally, I had to sit from like 6 a.m. to like 8:30, and it were only two persons that put our names down to travel to Calabar on that particular day. It wasn't really funny actually, but then we had to wait and just keep watching, looking at my time, and just feeding my eyes on the road and seeing things that were happening. The early morning sun came up and it became a little bit hot, but I mean, a fine boy has to be a fine boy with his glasses on, sunglasses on, still in the vehicle. You could see all the way back in the vehicle. I was just the only person there. And guess what? The journey usually takes about 10 to 12 hours to get to the city where I want to go to, Calabar. And by now it's supposed to be done. But then I wasn't sure about it, so I had to turn and ask the driver, are we still going to go? Are you sure we're still going to go? He said, yes, we're going to go. And I was hopeful, I was waiting. So, I mean, the only thing I had to do was just watch. Other buses that were going to other destinations were loading up and moving. I don't know if this bus was going farther away than my destination or a little bit closer, but it was gone. And I was here, just waiting and watching and waiting and watching. I mean, I was so exhausted. It was quite depressing. So finally, at about 10:36, we now head out on the road, and here we are on the road to Calabar, driving out of Benin. There was a little bit of hold up, traffic jam on the road, but then we made it through. And on our journey, it was quite interesting because we had this man on the right. He just had so much story, so much gist. He was the first passenger, I was the second, and I never had a dull moment on this trip because of him. He always have a story, what to say, things to tell us. A lot of troubling thoughts that he needs to share. And we'll just be guiding him through for him to share everything. I mean, with him, the journey was not dull at all. But looking back at where I sat, I mean, it wasn't easy. As you could see, I have a bag of gari. If you know what gari is, more like a porridge where they used to eat soup by my side with me. And that's how it was packed. I think the owner of the bags bought them in Benin and wanted to send them to Calabar. And so she decided to buy a seat and the seat that they all decided that should be bought is the one next to me. Actually, the seat I wanted to sit beside the window, just behind the driver. But, well, there was nothing I could do. I could just sit there with it. So then we have this man, he's still discussing, and he just kept discussing and all and all. And we kept going. The journey was just passing through. Now we've passed actually the first state, and now we're in the second state, moving on to the third, slowly going out of Delta. And we're approaching where it's called Onitsha, which is in Anambra State. And your boy was just back there doing his thing and just surviving through. But the truth is, we're moving, right? We're moving. And I had this little one way behind me who was just all smiling and happy. Come on, give me a hand, boy. Boom, that's my friend, right? We keep traveling together. It was a little bit exhausting actually, but we kept moving on. So here at this part, something interesting here. I heard that the day before there was a new Niger bridge. There's this famous bridge in Nigeria, the Niger Delta Bridge. So the bridge has been here for quite a long time. You're going to see the bridge in a bit, but just in front there is a new bridge that has just been built by the last government. The bridge was launched yesterday, but as of this particular day, they blocked the road to the bridge. So we wanted to use a new bridge, but we could not find a way through to it. So we had to just keep moving on. So we're going back. We rerouted back to the old bridge. If you look up at the sign, you're going to see that we just got past Delta State now. So up ahead is the bridge that had existed for many years in Nigeria. It's one of the famous bridge that holds the line to, I think if you had looked at the Nigerian map, you're going to see like two lines that were separated apart and then brought together somewhere in the middle and all the way down to the end of the map. So these waterways that we are crossing on top of this Niger bridge is the one that is indicated by those lines of water. So the bridge has been there for a while, and we've enjoyed this site of the bridge every time we pass through. And we like the fact that it has this anchor at the top. It's quite interesting, and sometimes you even have like, if the roads sometimes get congested and you have so much traffic on it, but this day, interestingly, we never had any sort of traffic. By the left hand side, you can see the water here, and you can see a little bit of island there, where the water have actually gone down. Now turning to the right hand side, which you can see right now, you could see the water too on the right, and looking a little bit closer, you would see a second bridge, which is a new bridge farther away on the right, all the way to the access that we had wanted to take join the new road to the bridge. But then we could not. But I heard that one is different from this because that one does not have all these big iron trusses or cover at the top like this one. Is just open, and the man in the front who was giving us all the gist and the driver, they were actually complaining that one does not have that cover and that it's not good enough and all that. And I was just trying to tell them that, well, in some other countries, I've seen bridges in some other countries that does not actually have these overhead covers, these iron bars at the top. But that doesn't mean that the bridge is not good. It might still be quite an interesting and very cool bridge. It really doesn't matter as long as that it has parapets at the side so that people don't fall over stuff like that. So here we are out of the bridge now. So we are into the next state, Anambra State. That happens to be the third state on the road. This part of the road usually have a lot of traffic. But moving forward, we got past like I think 2 other states, and then we get to the states that we took a little break and got into this eatery called Hoffa's, where you could see right now. At this time, we were like half of the journey. Yes, half of the journey. And people usually get tired, so The commercial drivers will often stop by in eateries like this that is stipulated by the companies, so that people just stretch their legs, have some lunch and snacks, and then just relax a little bit for like 15 minutes. The drivers themselves also eat so that they are not fatigued on the road because it's a long ride. Okay, so I just had to refresh myself a little bit. And it started to rain slightly. You could see the cloud at the top. And we decided, okay, it's time for us to go since everybody have just had a little meal and a little refreshment. And we started to go. So the rain was a little bit heavy on the road, so you could see a little bit of the traffic, but we're still moving. And our driver, I think he's still using like his chewing stick to remove some meat. Remove some meat in his teeth. However, it was still fun though. We still have this man on the right, that our storyteller on the right. He was giving us some good gist despite the rain, so the journey was still moving on. And now it's a little bit dark. So after the lunch, I decided to sit on the right hand side, and the man that was sitting on my right before turned to the left. So even when we switched seats, you could notice that by the right hand side where you have the door to the bus, we had like some waybill products that were almost about falling off, that were packed up to the roof. I had to hold them down just the way the other man was doing. Then I realized that I would have just sat down with those bags of Gary on the left and coming here to the right, because now I have to control a lot of load that we're just leaning on the doors so that they don't fall off me. But it's one of those logistics on the road, things on the road that we had to manage and then keep traveling with it. So it's not as if you just sit down on the bus and rest on some journeys like this, using some packs like this. You may just have to do some work, So the journey was just a little bit so far because we left late and we had to drive deep into the night. So this is a state, Akwa Ibom State, before Cross River, where we are going. And it was night time, actually. It was around that 7, 8, so to speak. And the journey just kept going on and on until at about, what time was it? Okay, at about 9:55, almost 10 o'clock, we got into Calabar. But before we got to the park, it was about after 10. So you can imagine from Benin to Calabar, started the journey in Benin by 10:30, let's put it that way. Yes, it was actually 10:30 something, but let's say 10:30. And then we got to Calabar at about 10 o'clock at night. You can imagine a journey of a whole day. Well, that's the fun of the story though. And that was how I made an historical trip of a full day on a road that I never expected to spend that much. But I guess I'm here now and I'm excited that I got here safely in one piece, despite the bad road conditions, the weather, and the stress in the bus and all of that. But like I said in the video, we made it through. And here we are on the state. So look out more for more of my vlogs here in the city, showing you the parts of the city of Calabar as much as I can, with all the vlogs and story surrounding where I see, the places I go and the things I do as much as often. And I'm happy to share this with you. If you love this video and you've been following through the story, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so that you keep up with all the nap vlogs that you'll be seeing on a daily basis and on a weekly basis as much as I upload them. And do well to give me your comments and your shares. If you have ideas on what next you want to see about the city of Calabar, things I need to cover, just let me know on the comment section what your thoughts are about all the things that you saw on my trip, my historical trip, and all the things you'd like to see as I'm now in town for a few more days. I guess it'll be a few more years, who knows. But let's see what's gonna happen. Do well to subscribe to my YouTube channel and please have a very, very lovely day. This is Nap Style Vlog. Nap is out.